Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Marriage Matters. This is a podcast where we talk about marriage matters because
marriage matters.
Yeah, so if you're watching for the very first time or listening for the very first time,
yes.
My name is Glenn Coleman. I'm joined as always by my beautiful wife.
Hi, guys. I'm Tanya Coleman.
And so every week we just come to you giving you tips and tricks on how to have relationships that thrive, thriving relationships,
thriving, healthy relationships. No, I'm not changing your word.
No. Thanks. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. because that's because a lot of times when we think of thriving, we may think Instagram, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's healthy.
Right.
So I like that word, healthy, healthy relationships. All right, so we're gonna jump into it. Well, I always like to ask you how you doing. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing well. Doing well this week. It was a very busy and very productive week, but doing well, and we're here. So,
okay.
How are you?
I'm good. I just woke up from a nice nap, so I'm feeling refreshed.
Good.
It's just like, man, there's nothing like, I guess as I'm getting older, I value a good nap. I value a good nap. Yeah. So
there is power in rest.
Yeah. So, guess we're going to just jump right into it today. I don't have any show notes or anything. Okay, I just thought about it. I'm like, I'm just doing this thing. So, so I guess today, we had the opportunity yesterday to spend the morning with Pastors David and Dara Riles at Life United. They hosted the EXO marriage conference. Yeah. They did a simulcast of that conference, and we had a great time. Just hanging out with them and so first of all, there was that. So it was great. It's and I'll say this all the time, guys, we are still growing in this. And so every opportunity we get to work on our relationship, to enhance our relationship, we do that. And we've done that through a lot of different ways. And yesterday was a great opportunity to do that. Some great speakers. So yeah, this is not just a podcast. This is us living
this thing out loud and for real. So yeah.
And so one of the speakers yesterday, Pastor Dan Liam, I think is how you say his name. So. He brought something out, but before I jump into it, one of the things that we talk about this a lot. We talk about the 5 love languages, and I have our 5 love language book here by Gary Chapman. It's a really great tool, and we always recommend to our couples that we work with, and just basically anyone in general that we talk to. It's and I always say, you can't love people the way you want to be loved. You have to love people the way they need to be loved, right. And I think that was a real a game changer for us in our relationship when we learned that. And so and the tool that helped us with that was the 5 love languages. And there's also for people like me who likes, the digital form, there's also an app called the Love Nudge app.
Right.
And it has a quiz on there where you can take the love language quiz. And not only that, the thing I like about the Love Nudge is you can link you can link your app with your spouse's app, and it'll help you remember to make sure that you're filling your spouse's love tank and doing the things that they need you to do in order to show love to them. So those are great tools. So it's the 5 Love Language book by Gary Chapman, and also the Love Nudge app. But one of the things that Pastor Dan Liam said, I was like, wow, that's pretty profound. He said that effort is the universal love language. Yes. Effort is the universal love language. And, as we were getting ready for this podcast, I thought about the movie, The Breakup, with Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston. And there's this scene in there where kind of everything comes to a head and they're arguing. Well, first she comes into the house and he's playing Grand Theft Auto, I think is what he's playing. Mm-hmm. And she walks in and she goes to the kitchen and the dishes are still in the kitchen. I guess maybe from the night from before. I can't remember.
It sounds like they had a dinner party or something and she had prepared a meal. And
she's like, you didn't clean the dishes. You didn't do the dishes. And he's like, oh, I'm going to get to it. And she's like, well, I'm going to do them now. And he's like, oh, okay, well, go ahead. And then she said something to the effect of, well, I would really appreciate you to come and help. So, yeah. And he goes, oh, man, I'm exhausted, blah, blah, blah. And they're getting into it. And he's like, well, fine, I'll get up and help you. And then she says, oh, forget it. So then he says, well, I thought you just said. She said, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. And he said, well, I thought you just said you wanted me to help you do the dishes. And then she says, I want you to want to do the dishes. Well, and he wants to help me. And he says, well, who wants to do the dishes, And so I think that we have that conversation a lot, especially in marriage, especially when you have kids and, more than one or just kids. What I was getting at was I was listening to another podcast and the person who was doing the podcast was saying how they met this family who had 4 kids. And he was like, well, what's that like? Mm-hmm. And he said, the mom said, it doesn't matter. Once you go past 2, once you become outnumbered, it doesn't matter. It could be 4 or 10. Right. It just doesn't matter once you're outnumbered. Right. But my point is that, it could get really hectic. And a lot of times I think there's a breakdown in, especially, and I'm just going to take this one, especially when it's between, the husband and the wife and helping out around the house and helping out with the kids. And I know, well, I'll just say in our relationship, I think in the beginning, thank you. Mm-hmm. In the beginning, you may have felt that maybe I wasn't helping out as much as you needed me to. With the kids? With the kids or just in around general. Around the house? Yeah, sure. House. I mean, there were other things that seemed to take your time, your focus, and your energy, and oftentimes as wives, as women, the work that we do, it goes unnoticed, or it feels like it goes unnoticed often. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely unrewarded a lot, if you have small kids, what it takes to take care of them and, the hands-on stuff and the emotional stuff, the keeping up with schoolwork and communicating with teachers and all of that kind of stuff. And then, the planning the meals and cooking the meals and shopping for the meals and just it's all of the little things that, a lot of times it feels like, it goes unnoticed. And I know for me, especially when our kids were young, I was literally the first one up and the last one to go to bed every single day, and so it's those moments of I need more help, and yeah. And so I think when Pastor Dan Liam said that the effort is the universal love language, I was like, wow, I think that's what, even like in this movie, and I know it's just a movie, I'm using it as an example, but I know that conversation happens in many homes across the world. This is why it's in the movie. Yeah, many homes across the world, that conversation happens. Yeah. I want you to want to do the dishes. And I think what she was really saying was, you don't put forth, I don't see you putting forth the effort. Yeah. And that's, I think a lot of times we miss. And I'll just say that I know for me, I miss that, it's the effort that you put forth that says no matter what your love language is, when you put forth the effort, in other words, you had to put some thought into this. Mm-hmm. We say this all the time that most people, everyone wants to be, I say most people, did not say everyone, but most people, they want to be seen, heard, and valued. Mm-hmm. And nothing says, I see you, I hear you, and I value you, like putting effort into something.
Right.
You know, it's like, and I learned this with you when it comes to, you know, because gifts is one of your love language. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't necessarily have to be an expensive gift.
Right.
But you like gifts that, like, I'll use this for example, for Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. I put, you know, when I tracked you down mm-hmm. and all the things that I did, even though I didn't spend a lot of money, I tell mm-hmm. you know, I mean, I think I made, well, it doesn't matter. Okay. But anyway, it was the effort, I think, mm-hmm. that I put into it that you were like, oh, wow. I mean, you know, mm-hmm. and that says so much. It's the effort that mm-hmm. behind it. It's the thoughtfulness. It's the fact that you had to stop what you were doing to think about me. Stop what you were doing, or remember what I said, right. or you know what I'm mm-hmm. saying. So it's more than just I'll say it this way. It's not just the what, it's the why. Right.
It's, you know, it's those moments when you've heard me say, you know, oh, I love this place, or, mm-hmm. oh, that's really pretty. You know, I would love to have that, or I would enjoy going there or doing this. And it was kind of like a pass by kind of just thought moment or what have you. But at some point you put forth the effort to make that happen for mm-hmm. me. You know, mm-hmm. that is so meaningful. You know, that means that I was on your mind. I was on your heart. It also means that you heard me mm-hmm. when I spoke, and you're paying attention to the things that I enjoy and that I desire, you know, yeah. So that kind of effort goes a long way.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is the barrier for not putting forth effort in relationships? Mm-hmm. What do you know?
I think it's probably multiple, that people are made up differently, and maybe some people are just less considerate than other people. Mm-hmm. We can become very self-absorbed and self-consumed. It could be a lot of things that, you know, sometimes literally it just doesn't, you know, cross the person's mind. And also, if a person has never been required to put forth effort and relationships have been really all about them, you know, and when the relationship isn't all about them, maybe that relationship doesn't work for them anymore. When they are in relationship with someone that does require them to put forth effort, that may be challenging for some people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, I think sometimes just that we just get comfortable. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like we were talking at the conference yesterday, and we had the opportunity to be a part of a Q&A panel, or like the guy said, an MMA panel. I was like, whoa, what are we? We're in the cage fighting, but he meant Q&A, yeah. But he said MMA, but that was funny. Mm-hmm. But one of the things, you know, Pastor Darrell was saying that, you know, when they were dating, how Pastor David used to write poetry for her. Mm-hmm. And she's like, you know, he had done that. And I remember that too. I used to write, mm-hmm. you know, poems for you mm-hmm. and do that. But I think what it is like, and I hate to use this word, but this is the only word that comes to mind. So give me a better word.
Okay.
But I'll just say this. It's for us, it's in the pursuit.
Right.
And we know that we have to do certain things. Mm-hmm. And you know, once
you've caught the girl.
Once you caught the girl, we tend to say, okay, well, I have her now. Mm-hmm. So you have to find ways, or it's like you have to make it. And for me, this is what it was. It wasn't you as much as it was the relationship with you. Mm-hmm. You know, and after 20 years of marriage, I know, man, if you don't learn to make that switch, mm-hmm. I see how people can, you know, after 20 years, 25 years of marriage, all of a sudden say, well, this is not for me, because mm-hmm. you know what I'm saying? it's like your goal has to change. So it's no longer the pursuit of the girl, but now it's the pursuit of relationship. It's the pursuit of knowing you better.
I think the pursuit of the girl should continue, although she's now a woman. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let me kind of tell you where I'm coming from with that.
Yeah.
That it is not so much that you're pursuing to catch me, so to speak, but it's the heart, it's the attention, it's that because we say this all the time, that we're always growing and changing, and we've become different people from who we were 25 years ago when we first met. True. And so pursuing to always know me, intimately know me and understand me. And, we say the other thing that we say often is being a student of your spouse, so it's that kind of necessary, like the pursuit. I think that if you're going to use that word pursuit, but it's because that's a part of it for us too. Women enjoy being pursued. Like when you tracked me down for Valentine's Day and met me in the parking lot with, Valentine's gift, that meant a lot to me. That you were like on your phone, where's she going? And, the whole thing to surprise me. Yeah. You put in that much effort. Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess you're right. I'll just go back to, we've got to keep reinventing that in our relationships.
Exactly.
We can't be, like, okay, well, I've got her, or, we have to keep that fresh. We have to keep that exciting, and not allow that to happen. And I don't know, for me, reinventing that, I'm trying to think. What do you think it is? How did we reinvent the pursuit? How do we keep that going? How do we keep, and I will admit, I think that there may have been a season in our life maybe where I wasn't putting forth the effort as much. So I'm just trying to think. I think
for us, it was doing what we always say: the ongoing, conversations and learning to have the hard conversations and ask for what we want and ask for what we need. It was that. It's doing what we always say. It's just like we have to communicate, and I have to tell you the things that I enjoy, that I want. My desires and, all of those different things.
Yeah. And I just thought about something when you said that about the communication. When your spouse is saying something, believe them.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I think, when, and I know it can be frustrating when your spouse may say something like, "You never help out around here," and you're like, "What do you mean?" And I know, and we always say you should never use the word never because that's probably not true. But learn to listen to that and okay, if she's saying this, what is she saying? If she's saying I never help out around here, well, okay, tell me more about that, or maybe, or ask the question, well, what do you need me to do? How can I show you, or where do you need me to put forth the effort?
Right.
And just being realistic with, and not just shoving that off saying, well, I know that's not true, or I know I do help out. Well, do you, and it's the other thing, and I'll say this, especially for, families where, maybe one spouse is a stay-at-home spouse, a lot of times what happens is when the other spouse who goes out and works comes home, it's like they feel like, okay, they're done, they're off. Whereas if that's the truth, then the spouse that stays home is never off.
It's never off. It's never done.
So, I had to learn that I can't just come home and just
sit on the sofa and grab the remote.
Right, because just like you are still in
engaged
in parent mode or what have you, then I have to also be engaged and understand this, that a lot of, especially when it comes to the kids, that's for a season.
Right.
You know, so just having those conversations and not just shrugging off, you know, what your spouse is saying. If your spouse is saying, you know, I need help in this area, or I need you to put more effort forth in this area, and then you know, you're like, oh, well, whatever. I know I do that, you know. Well, no, I need to listen. And I say this all the time: don't listen to how she's saying, listen to what she's saying, you know, or he.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's communication. It's the effort. It's learning and understanding your spouse. Looking for ways, intentionally looking for ways to show them that you love them, that you care about them, that you see them, that you hear them. You know, it's being intentional about those things, you know, and, you know, just putting in a little effort. That's it. You know, it's not that you have to, you know, have the big dinners and dress up every weekend and, you know, buying all of these expensive things and taking these big trips. Those things are great. You know, they are good. But it's not something that is for most of us that's practical, you know, all the time in our everyday lives, you know? And so it's good to be able to really get past some of those things and just really focus on the heart of your spouse and what does Glenn enjoy, you know, what gets him excited, what brings him peace and calm, what does he need, you know, does he want to go out to an event, would that be enjoyable for him, or has he been saying, you know, man, I just really need some downtime, and so do we need to get away and just literally have some downtime, do we need to, you know, whatever, but listening and just putting forth an effort to serve your spouse.
I had a thought, it just slipped away. It's going to come back. But anyway, it'll come back. But I know for me, like one thing that I know I still need to work on is just mindfulness of you, because I can get really one-tracked. Perfect example is, when was that? This was Friday. Was it Friday? No, it was Thursday. I picked the girls up from school and brought them to the office, and you guys had like a college virtual tour and then a physical tour of another school. And the girls, you know, they're always like, oh, after school snack, which is my mom's and her mom's fault.
Absolutely.
You know, Granny and Nana spoil them. So after school.
They go, it's not a snack, it's a whole meal.
So that's not, Chick-fil-A is not a snack. A number 6 from Chick-fil-A is not a meal. That is not a snack. But anyway, so they were like, but rightfully so, I knew that they're going to be, they just come from school. They were not going to be home till later that evening, and they needed something to eat. So I brought them to Chick-fil-A. And I will admit, it didn't cross my mind. Well, Tanya's been at work all day. She probably wants something to eat too. So I just got them something to eat. I didn't get myself nothing to eat either. And that's because I wasn't in parent mode. I guess I wasn't in spouse mode, I was in parent mode, and I got them something to eat and dropped them off. And she sends me a text. She was like, hey, you know, you didn't bring me any Chick-fil-A? And I was like, oh man, my bad. But I know that's something I need to work more at, is to be more mindful and always be thinking of you in those moments, you know. And I'll say this, you know, it goes both ways. It goes both ways.
I think of you. I text you often.
No.
Hey, do you want something? No.
I'm not saying that. Let me finish.
I know, I'm joking. I'm messing with you.
But it goes both ways, because, you know, one area that, you know, I always, because truth be told, excuse me, that's not COVID. You have to say that every time you cough now. But, you know, especially when it comes to intimacy and sex, you know, men, we want to be pursued. We don't always want to be the pursuer. So that's one of the areas I share with you, is like, you know, I would want you to I don't want to have to be the one to always initiate. I don't want to be the one to always initiate. And, I will honestly say I've seen that the growth in you. But here's what I found too, that, so many times we can sit back in relationships and always analyze what they're not doing for us. But it's like whenever I put forth the effort
in other areas,
it helps her to be
more intentional about the areas that are important to you.
Yeah. So I just encourage you, not just to do that, not to just say, okay, what is it that I need, or I'm not getting my needs met. I always say that somebody has to break the cycle. Okay. Somebody has to put forth the effort and say, you know what, I know maybe I'm not getting everything that I need, but if they're saying they need this, or I see that they need this, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm gonna put forth the effort, because here's the deal. Effort reaps effort. But if we both always saying, well, I'm not putting forth the effort because they're not putting forth the effort, so
everybody's withholding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're trying to tell me something?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what do you think? What do you think?
I think you're spot on. That we all have work to do, and like I said before, paying attention and being intentional about putting in the work. We say that all the time. That marriage is work. And realizing that your spouse may not be 100% today or this week, and so effort would look like, hey, how are things going? What's going on? Do you need anything? Can I help? In any capacity, asking questions. And just paying attention.
Yeah. So I guess maybe a question that you can ask your spouse is, where would you like to see me put more effort?
More effort.
Put forth more effort in our relationship.
Absolutely.
And don't be to the person. Don't get frustrated about the asking. Because I think that's another thing that a lot of times, people say, well, I shouldn't have to.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's a big area.
I shouldn't have to ask them. They should know. Well, I'm telling you now, and I tell Tanya this all the time. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm not. I consider myself I guess I'm a romantic. I don't know. What do you think?
You have romantic moments.
I have romantic, but I know I'm very practical. I'm a very practical. I like, even like with gift giving, I was like, if it doesn't serve a purpose, if it's, I wouldn't give stuff just because it had to serve a purpose. So I know that that's an area I had to work on.
Because I'm like, I can give myself things that serve purpose. I like sentimental things. Yeah.
I forgot where I was going with that. No, that was me. I went off. But yeah, don't be afraid, or don't get frustrated. That's what it was. Don't get frustrated with the asking. There's this, I forget which letter that Paul was writing. He says, I think it was to the church, to the Philippians. He said something like, it's not frustrating, or it's not grievous for me to write the same things to you over and over again.
That's good.
So it's the same thing in our marriage. Don't get frustrated, because again, it's like, that's the way we're programmed to function a certain way. That's
how we learn, by repetition.
Yeah. And so don't get frustrated. I know asking is like, I got to ask you again, but don't get frustrated with that. Just gently remind them, hey, you remember we talked about, you helping out more, or and I'm the type of person, I'm a list person. Give me a list of things, that I need to do, whatever I need to do to help you. But ask for what you need, and make an agreement to each other that, hey, we're going to put forth more effort in these areas, and here's where I need you to put forth more effort. And when you get that information from your spouse, don't say, oh, that's not true. I do help out.
Sorry.
That's okay. I do help out, I do, whatever, take them at their word, and or if that what they're saying is if you feel that that's not accurate, well, dig deeper and find out where they're really, what they're really coming from. Just like I said with the clip, I want you to want to do the dishes. Well, I think what she really was saying, you don't put forth effort.
Right.
Whenever
I want you to want to help me, and to support me with managing what has to happen in this house to make it run smoothly. Yeah, it's like when we were dating. Or I don't think they were married in that movie. I can't remember. Anyway, but it's like when we were dating, you were pursuing me. You were being thoughtful. You were sending me messages or all these things. And now you're not doing that. So I think that's what I'm saying is the deeper what you're really saying is, so maybe if it's just coming out in the not doing the dishes part. So have a conversation and be brave enough and value your relationship enough to have those conversations and those talks with your spouse and say, hey, I'm not getting what I need. Don't just sit on that. Don't just what's the word I'm looking for? Ignore it or, try to suck it up and think that's just the way it has to be. No, your relationship, your marriage is designed to add to your life and to, I always use the word synergy. There should be synergy between you and your spouse. So, and if you're not getting that, then you need to have a conversation and just put forth more effort. Just think of ways that you can do that. I know I am. So I'm going to remember next time I go to Chick-fil-A to pick Tanya something. Or just ask if I would like something. That's all. Okay. I'll do that. I'll put forth effort. All right. It's good. Anything else? Nope. All right. So remember that effort is the universal love language. Shout out to Pastor Dan Liam. And that's all we got for you this week. We'll see you next week. Just remember, this is Glenn and Tanya Coleman reminding you that your marriage matters. We'll see you next week. Bye.